Driving with the fuel tank almost empty. According to international surveys, more than 70% of drivers wait for the low fuel warning light to come on before deciding to refuel, but this habit can damage the fuel pump and leave you stranded at the worst possible time. The fuel pump operates submerged in gasoline. It is the fuel itself that keeps the system lubricated and cooled. When you drive with the tank nearly empty, the pump overheats and begins to wear out. Within a few months, it may fail completely, and the bill can reach around $4,000 depending on the vehicle. In addition, a weak fuel pump can cause the car to stall unexpectedly, creating a huge risk in traffic or on the highway. Ideally, you should never let the fuel level drop below 1/4 of a tank and never drive with less than 1/8. It may sound excessive, but it is the kind of simple precaution that protects both your engine and your safety. And speaking of expensive mistakes, the next one can destroy an entire engine, even in a brand new car. Number 9. Using oil with the wrong viscosity. Remember when we said that a large portion of engine wear occurs during cold starts? Well, it gets even worse if you use oil with the wrong viscosity. Modern engines are manufactured with extremely tight tolerances, meaning every component operates with millimeter-level precision. If, for example, you use a 10W40 oil in an engine that requires 0W20, the oil takes longer to circulate and does not reach all the parts that need lubrication. The result? Insufficient lubrication, overheating, and excessive friction. This can cause engine seizure, warp the cylinder head, or even crack the engine block, resulting in repair costs ranging from $20,000 to $40,000. Some manufacturers warn that using thicker oil can damage the engine in less than 25,000 kilometers. That is why the recommended viscosity is printed on the oil cap and listed in the owner's manual. If you use the wrong oil, replace it immediately and perform a complete system cleaning. Ignoring this can cost as much as a used economy car. But if you think that is serious, the next habit involves products that promise miracles and end up killing your engine in minutes. Number 8. Using cheap additives from questionable sources. Every year, hundreds of millions of liters of automotive additives are sold worldwide. They promise to increase power, save fuel, and even revive worn-out engines. But the truth is that most of them are not approved by any regulatory agency. Many of these products alter the composition of gasoline, ethanol, or even engine oil, causing chemical reactions, clogged fuel injectors, and even internal corrosion. In practice, they're the automotive version of snake oil. Lots of marketing, but no real results. It's worth remembering that quality premium fuels already contain cleaning compounds in safer and more controlled concentrations. In other words, adding aftermarket additives on your own is often a waste of money and a risk to your engine. There are some quality products on the market, but for every one that works, there are 10 that only cause damage. Therefore, never buy generic additives or products without technical recommendations. And speaking of risks, the next mistake not only destroys your car, but can also put your life in danger. Number 7. Driving aggressively. It's very tempting to test the limits of a new car, almost like taming a wild horse. As people often say, it makes you want to accelerate as if the car were not yours. But unless you have enough money to replace your car at any moment, that is never a good idea. Let's start with the basics: hard acceleration and aggressive braking. They burn fuel and place enormous stress on the vehicle's components. According to data from the U.S. Department of Energy, aggressive driving can reduce fuel economy by up to 30% on highways and 40% in city traffic. In other words, it's money going out through the exhaust. The bigger problem, however, is the impact this has on tires and brakes. Hard braking generates extreme heat, reaching 260 degrees Celsius or more. This heat can warp brake rotors, wear out brake pads and calipers much faster, and even worse, put your safety at risk. About 35% of vehicle maintenance-related accidents are caused by tire problems. And even if the tires can handle it, the engine and transmission may not. Constant stress on the engine, transmission, and engine mounts can cause serious failures in less than 50,000 kilometers. It would be a shame to keep making payments on a car that has already ended up in the scrapyard. And believe it or not, the next mistake can cause exactly that as well.
Number 6. Using poor quality jumper cables. Learning how to start a car with a dead battery is one of the first lessons every driver learns, but what seems simple can turn into thousands of reais in repairs if done incorrectly. Modern cars are filled with sensitive electronic modules, the well-known control units and electronic systems. A typical vehicle may have between 30 and 50 electronic modules, while more sophisticated cars can have over 100. When you use poor quality jumper cables or connect them incorrectly, you can cause short circuits, melt wiring, and even burn out airbag or fuel injection modules. In some cases, the damage is so extensive that buying another car is cheaper than repairing the vehicle. That is why you should never cut corners on this item. A good set of jumper cables costs little, but prevents headaches and protects your vehicle's electronic system. And do you know what's worse than using poor quality cables? Stay till the end because I will reveal it in the final mistake of the video. But first, here comes another silent villain that gradually destroys your car.
Number 5. Exceeding the vehicle's maximum weight limit. More than 80% of accidents involving trucks are related to excessive loads. Although the number is lower for passenger cars, overloading still represents a significant risk. Exceeding the maximum weight your vehicle can carry places enormous stress on the suspension, brakes, and transmission. That is why there's a label on the door pillar indicating the gross vehicle weight rating, or GVWR. Ignoring this limit and constantly driving with excessive weight causes shock absorbers, springs, and bump stops to wear out quickly. If you need to replace the entire suspension system, be prepared to spend more than 10,000 reals, depending on the model. But the worst part is not the cost. Overloaded vehicles become unstable and take longer to stop, significantly increasing the risk of accidents. A mistake like this can result in a total loss of the vehicle or even legal action. And believe it or not, the next mistake can lead to exactly that as well. Number 4. Using the wrong tire pressure. According to data from NHTSA, the U.S. National Highway Safety Administration, more than 11,000 accidents per year are linked to tire problems. And the main cause is simple: incorrect tire pressure, whether underinflated or overinflated. Driving with the wrong tire pressure can cause blowouts, increase braking distances, and reduce traction, especially on curves and wet roads. Many drivers do not know the correct pressure and end up looking at the number printed on the sidewall of the tire. However, that number only indicates the maximum pressure the tire can withstand. The correct tire pressure is listed on the label located on the driver's door pillar, and that is where you should always check. Ideally, you should check tire pressure at least once a month rather than waiting for the low pressure light to appear on the dashboard. When that light comes on, it means the tire is already about 25% below the recommended pressure. At that point, you're 3 times more likely to be involved in an accident. Besides compromising safety, incorrect tire pressure also increases fuel consumption, worsens stability, and places additional stress on the suspension. If you value your car and your life, never neglect tire pressure. But do you know what you should not keep under control all the time? It is the next mistake on the list. Number 3. Resting your foot on the clutch pedal. In manual transmission cars, there's something special about shifting gears yourself. It can even feel like driving a race car. But unlike professional racing drivers who have vehicles designed for that purpose, you cannot afford to keep your foot resting on the clutch pedal all the time. This habit, known as riding the clutch, is the leading cause of premature clutch wear. Even a slight pressure on the pedal causes the clutch release bearing to contact the pressure plate, generating constant friction and accelerated wear. As a result, you may need to replace the clutch in less than 60,000 kilometers, and the repair can cost more than 10,000 reals in some vehicles. In other words, it's a habit worth abandoning now before it starts draining your bank account. And speaking of expensive habits, the next one is among the worst on the list. Number 2. Shifting into reverse or drive before the car comes to a complete stop. This is one of the most common and expensive mistakes a driver can make. Unless it's an emergency, never shift from D to R or vice versa while the vehicle is still moving.
This applies to both automatic and manual transmissions. When you make this shift without the vehicle being completely stopped, the transmission is forced to act as a brake, absorbing violent impacts through the gears, synchronizers, and shafts. Over time, this practice destroys gears, axle shafts, and the transmission itself. And when the transmission fails, the repair bill can reach 35,000 reals or more. But there's something even worse. Number 1. Installing cheap performance chips. Many people believe manufacturers intentionally limit the engine's potential, and that all it takes is a performance chip or ECU remap to unlock extra horsepower. And it's true that a properly executed tune can provide up to 5% more power, but that only works if it is performed by a trustworthy professional. Cheap performance chips, sold online or through questionable workshops, alter ignition timing, turbo boost pressure, and fuel injection settings without considering the engine's actual limits. The result? Catastrophic failures, melted pistons, burnt valves, and blown engines. Studies show that poor quality remaps are among the leading causes of engine failures occurring before 50,000 kilometers. To make matters worse, many insurance companies and manufacturers void warranties when they detect modifications of this kind. A famous case in the United Kingdom involved a driver who reprogrammed his sports car and just 4,000 kilometers later suffered a complete engine failure with estimated damages exceeding 60,000 reals. In other words, the promised performance gains don't justify either the risk or the cost. These cheap chips and remaps can cost you your car and your wallet. If you enjoyed this video and found these tips helpful, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps support our work and allows us to keep bringing you more useful content like this. Also, turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.